What's up, guys? What's going on? We are back live again, doing our weekly golf breakdown, best bets, DFS. We have our friend here, Green Means Go, uh, coming here, joining us here over at Wolf Sports. Green, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I can't think of a better weekend in golf, and I'm glad it's finally here. You got any good master stories before we go? I mean, I got one that I don't know if I'm proud or ashamed of, but I'll let you go first if you got a good master story.
Stories.
Memory, moment.
I mean, one that comes to mind actually was at more. Well, I guess two. Two stick out in particular. One was the Masters that Patrick Reed won. I remember watching it on a plane, which I was like, you never always. It's hard to know sometimes before you get on a flight if they're going to have a TV or not. But it was on Sunday. It was the final round, and mid late afternoon. So things were kind of coming.
Bad time for a play. I mean,
And I was so
rough.
upset about it. And you're sitting there watching it at the airport, and then it's like you get on, and I was like, "Oh, all right, we're in business. Thank God we are in business." And got to watch that with Patrick Reed winning that one, and then the other was probably the closest I got to cashing an outright in Augusta, which when I had a Shoffley ticket, a Xander Shoffley ticket, and it was when at 16 when he went into the drink and kind of ruined it.
Brutal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So those, I think, are my two primary memories.
Yeah. I don't know again if I'm proud or ashamed of this, but before when I was in college, before I was even doing my student teaching, because I was in education, I was doing like a practicum teacher situation, and I was at this school all day, and I wasn't going to miss the masters because it's the masters. And I wasn't. We didn't even have sports betting at this time, but we had DFS, so I'm sure I had way more DFS 25-cent lineups than I needed to have. But in the middle of this class where I'm supposed to be teaching and helping these fifth graders, I'm sitting at the back table with the master stream pulled up on my computer, and the head teacher came back and saw it, and it just wasn't a great look, and I don't think I ever got back in her good graces. So again, I guess that shows my commitment to the craft of golf. Maybe not what I was there to do, but I've always been one to try to find the stream, and I guess you get that too with you being however many feet in the air, watching it on the airplane. So whatever it takes, I guess, is the moral here to watch the Masters.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I don't know, where do you fall weigh in? A lot of people seem to think that there's the birds chirping or is like artificially pumped in some of those sound effects and things, when they're showing, because I think visually it's the best tournament to watch. It's one of like and I mean, I watch golf. I don't watch it a ton of golf, but I like to play more than I watch, but you know, it's one that visually it's easily one of the most visually appealing sporting events, I think, just from all the different like angles they have, and they're showing the different. I think they do a really good job of showing the undulation and like the different course. They just really have it dialed in as to how to make it a like really really high and enjoyable production. um and really
Agree.
from the app, the streams, everything. Like you could watch whoever you want. I don't know. I wish more golf tournaments were produced that the same way.
Yeah, but then would it be a special? I don't know. I think
Yeah,
there's something about it being reserved for just that. I like the no phone rule. I think that's
yeah,
good
yeah,
for golf. Um, yeah, it's a special time, and it would be even more special if we can cash some tickets. So hopefully, I can offer some good advice.
yeah, yeah. No doubt. Wanted to give a quick shout to our guy Alex. He's questioning why why we're running this before the Champions League. But yeah, hey, look, we're still big fans. We got delayed here on our start thanks to a sister stream that was going on, kind of pushed us back a little bit. But not to worry. We're still going to be locked in on some Champions League action as well. But yeah, every Wednesday we do these golf um, tournament previews for the upcoming weekend. But yeah, let's get into it. As they say, it is a tradition unlike any other. So where do we want to start, Green? We're going to talk maybe a little bit about course.
I want to talk last week first.
All right, yeah,
We need
let's
to
do a
clear the
recap.
air.
Yeah, clean the
Just a
slate.
real quick because I want to be transparent with the model that I give. Are you able to see? Pull up the. I think I'm good on my end. If you're able to pull it up, there we
Yeah, here
go.
we go.
Okay. Um, so we'll start with the positives. Maverick McNeely was fourth on the model in terms of overall points. He gets third. Ryan Gerard manages to make his way in the top six, which I thought was crazy. He gets second. So it was right in those capacities, but overall, not that great. A lot of missed cuts even in this top 20. Again, this course was rather difficult. Brian Harmon ends up winning, looking good for most of the tournament. Keith Mitchell on here finishes 12th, but I believe he was like 6 under day one and then just fell apart. So we'll give my performance and the model's performance for Valero a C minus, and I'm hopeful that we can improve today. So if we want to look at the course, we're all familiar with it, I believe. Par 72, fairly long course, bent grass greens. These greens should be very fast. Have you seen the question circulating the internet about if you only putted, if somebody put a ball on the greens and all you had to do was putt for 18 holes times 4, 72 rounds of just putting on these greens, could you win the Masters? Have you
No,
seen that?
yeah, I know, and it's like these stupid things come up all the time. It's just like the same, like, oh, if you had unlimited mulligans, would you be able to, And the answer is always no for these people. Like that's the thing. It. You sit there and you watch these tournaments, and these guys they make it look so easy, and I think that just kind of speaks to the skill level, but they can make it look incredibly easy. And then, you and I go down to our local muni and hack it up all over the place. So, no, at a place like this where it's this difficult and there's that much, especially at the greens, you have to be really, really good with the putter here. You see guys, these greens got people up alive. If they've never played there before, that's why, as we'll get into, I tend to shy away from first timers just
Yeah.
because until you experience it for yourself, you don't understand why certain things, seem to confuse them, or there's different sight lines and angles that might kind of,
Right.
optical illusions that this course has really that it kind of creates for you, which I
Yeah.
think is why one thing that makes it so alluring, and also a special place that it's kind of withstood the test of time.
Yeah. And I see a comment from Hip Hop Keychains, first round leader. I know FanDuel's offering a promo for that. I'll get you some picks near the end. Let's go through the course a little bit, and then I'll be happy to give you a first round leader look. So this is the top 5, 6 ish. I guess it's 6 from the last 4 Masters. And I think what stood out to me is the kind of score differential between first and second in a lot of these. Really, in my mind, had it a lot closer. I mean, look at last year, minus 11, and then you move down 5 guys, it's minus 2. Scheffler just dominated last year. 2023, a little closer with a couple guys. So it tends to be, in a weird way, kind of a runaway as of recently. So I just wanted to provide you guys some looks at the last few Masters. Obviously, Scheffler's in there a couple times. Zalatoris is in there a couple times. Mickelson, you see, 2 years ago, cracks the top 5. So a lot to look forward to. And I think, like you said, Zach, often guys you see on the top of these lists are guys that you see again just because familiarity with the course is huge.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, I feel like here, we talk about course horses and game fits, guys whose game fits certain courses or they've had success there in the past. But I think, especially at Augusta, easily has to be probably the most predictive in course on the tour in terms of year over year success and like being able to like look, there's always going to be an outlier here or there, but as far as champions, we rarely get shock surprises. It's
Yeah.
generally, hey, there's this list of, let's say, 10 to 15 people. It's going to probably be one of these guys. You don't, not going to vary much beyond that, I think, in most of the time, if not all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the stats that you're kind of alluding to here, or things that you want to look at if you don't want to take my suggestions at total face value and want to do your own research, as it relates to the 52 courses that the PGA plays on, Augusta strokes gain tee to green is the third most important course. So it is a big deal that you are gaining strokes tee to green on this course. The least important stat, not only for Augusta, but across the entire PGA, is driving accuracy. According to all the data, all the statistics, this is the course where you can be a little bit loose off the tee and still be okay. You hear sort of anecdotal conversations about, oh, it favors lefties, which may or may not be true. I've heard that there is some work being done in clearing out of trees just with storms and landscaping and things of that nature that have made it even easier for right-handers. So I think even so this year, you're going to see guys preferring distance significantly more than accuracy. Some fringe stats or stats that are important that are kind of minor categories, bounce backs. As you alluded to, again, there are holes on this course that can eat guys alive. So their ability to make a bogey and then come back and birdie or better is huge. Eagles, birdie or better, driving distance, and par five scoring. So guys who, as you like to say, are bombers off the tee and can make some good putts are going to are going to see success here.
Yeah, and I think I guess kind of more along those lines, or to expand on that point is what, or maybe in less technical terms, what I like to see is, hey, guys that have good approach game, because where you land on the green on a lot of these holes is very, very important. Um, which I think that's where that experience comes in, knowing, hey, don't take the candy. It looks like you should go over here, but really just take the safe play over there. You
Yeah.
might give yourself an extra putt, but you're not going to cost yourself, because ultimately I think the name of the game here in particular is bogey avoidance. And as you have here, par five, make some scoring on the par five. Everywhere else, just try to not get bogeys.
Yep. Absolutely. So looking at some course history as it relates to Augusta, these are two charts that I've got for you as it relates to, on the left, strokes gain, tee to green in rounds at Augusta, and then on the right, strokes gain total in rounds at Augusta. So, use this however you would like or see fit, but this kind of gives you an idea of guys who have historically had success either in tee to green, or total, or both. So just some guys that jump out. Obviously, Scotty is number one in 16 rounds, and he's number three on the other side. John Rahm's in the top three on both. You see Hideki up near the top on both. Hideki won, was that 2 or 3 years ago? Hasn't looked good this year. I bet him out of obligation almost, which is never a good thing to do. But I'm a big Hideki guy, so I didn't get to him this week. I probably won't get to him this week, but maybe this is his week to turn it around.
Yeah, he definitely cost me in my DFS lineup last week. I think he was one of my big spending guys, and he kind of fell apart there. So yeah, I won't be getting back on that train again this week. I think there's far too much, maybe far more safer and consistent guys. But yeah, I mean, look, he's played well here. He's obviously won, so that puts him into the mix here. But yeah, I don't. He's not somebody I'm looking to get behind this week.
Agreed. So we want to look at some model runnings, some tests. We can do that. I made a tweet a couple days ago, yesterday I guess it was, and said What was my tweet, Zach? Do you remember my tweet? Something about the model pulling out 2 names over and over,
Oh,
or
yeah,
some
yeah, yeah, yeah,
something to the degree of it's just a Rory Scotty show. And I think there's a lot of courses where Rory and Scotty are going to be favored, and then a lot happens, and maybe they get top 10, but they're not really in contention Sunday. They're playing from a 4-stroke deficit. I think this is your one course where you're going to see those 2 guys at the top just because of how it sets up. So I am honestly very shocked at the fact that Rory on the first 4 trials was number 1. And I've gone ahead and scored these a little bit more accurately. I know last week I only did 1 through 15, but I actually put the composite score that it gave next to it. And so I tried to aggregate it a little better for you guys. But yeah, you see Rory and Scotty in the top 2, 3, 4, and 5 on nearly all of these. So again, this was my first run, just incorporating things that I think are important: tee to green, driving distance, par 5 scoring. Then I put a little bit more weights on recent form. Rory is playing pretty well. If he can put the ball to positive strokes gained, I'm scared for my outrights that are not on his side of things. Course history, again, very important here. Courses that are similar to this. Dustin Johnson's kind of a name that I have not heard about in a while.
another former winner.
Yeah, let me look and see how his
I don't
how
know
his
that yeah, he's another guy that went to live and just kinda, like, faded off into obscurity, like, never to be heard from again.
yeah. Let's see how he's doing, because I know Sergio. Because this is a weird event where probably the first event where we have live guys coming in.
Yeah,
Sergio is very hot. Bryson's playing pretty well. Rom is playing very well. So those 3 guys, I think, are names you're going to hear a lot, as the announcers are probably going to want to talk about
Neiman.
live. Yep, Joaquin Neiman. Okay, so Dustin Johnson, 27th, 5th, 54th, 31st, 44th, losing strokes putting nearly every event, losing strokes around the green nearly every event. Pretty good off the tee. Yeah, he was on Caleb Presley's Sunday Conversation though. So maybe I don't know if that correlates to anything. If you're a guy who likes to decode. Maybe there's something there. I don't have any Dustin Johnson tickets whatsoever. And then here's some on key stats, and then 5 more trials. Oh, what do you know? Rory Scotty, Rory Scotty, Rory Scotty, Rory Scotty, Rory Scotty. Now, again, I am mixing up what metrics I am weighting in these. You can see that all the other guys are varied, but I think driving distance, tee to green, par 5 scoring, and history at Augusta, probably the 4 main food groups. These 2 guys are eating good. We can just say it like that. Outside of that, you see Xander pop up quite a few times. And we can go one more and kind of talk about player frequency in terms of guys who show up, not necessarily in the order that they show up or the ranking. We'll look at that in a second. But tell me if there's anybody who jumps out at you on this list, maybe besides Rory Scotty. Any guys you have your eye on that also match with what the model says?
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Mack is a guy that I already kind of had my eye on a little bit down the list. Uh,
Lefty.
Xander's just yeah, Xander's one that, is just, almost always gonna find his way into my dance card, especially here. Um, really, those 2 up at the top end of things. Uh, Shane Lowry's a guy that I like, I think, this weekend,
Are
and,
you a Brooks guy?
I am, but, I'm not buying into it right now just because I mean, the only thing that we're kind of going off of with him is, hey, he's looked good here before, and it's like, oh, uh, Major Brooks, Major Brooks shows up different than everywhere else, which, yes, that was true for quite a while, but, like, if you look last year, it's not like he was just I mean, he didn't win anything, and he also wasn't, like, routinely finishing in the top 10 or really even in competition, so I don't know. I'm kind of off of that train a little bit. I still
Yeah.
like him,
He
I
got
like
an
his game,
18th,
but I'm
18th
not
last week, second 2 weeks ago, 35th, 7th, 33rd. Uh, Not bad. Around the green, he's playing well. I just what's the live competition in some ways is what I
right.
also like. what do they play? They only play 3
3.
rounds.
Yeah, yeah.
It just I
Fade
wish
all the live
maybe
guys on Sunday. I know that's
yeah,
what
that's kind of
the running
interesting. I
joke
never
is.
yeah, I mean, these guys have done it all their life. I'm sure one extra
Yeah.
round isn't gonna do anything, but it'll be a talking point, I'm sure. Yeah, I like Shane Lowry as well. Will Zalatoris down there in that 2 spot. Robert McIntyre being a lefty, playing tee to green really well, figuring out the putter, all good things for him. Xander, yeah. And that Sung JM one is the one where it's the most puzzling piece out there. And we can talk about him in a second, but for him to rank so highly is definitely catching my eye. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, on that note, because I know generally he does tend to um, score well here, like in predictive models and sorts. I know that he's had a little uneven performances here at times. Some he's looked great, others not so much. But I'm trying to think who the other guy that was down there. Cam. That's kind of how, like, when it comes to Cam Smith and Brooks, is two guys that, like, I love their game. They've obviously both looked played incredible here in the past. But I just think when you're looking at DFS and you're looking at odds, top 20s, right? The price that you're paying, like, you're still paying a premium for those guys.
Right.
And there's a little bit of relative unknown. So that's kind of, it's not that I'm doubtful of their ability to perform here. It's just more so, I don't like having to pay as much as I'm paying for that uncertainty when I feel like you can invest in guys that are a little more dependable with less
Right.
question marks anyway.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
I did love seeing Cam rocking the full suit today at warmups.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing an interview. I'd love to know why. I mean, certainly unique, but there's got to be a reason he made that decision. Sometimes I don't even like to put on the polo. I'd rather go out there in sweatpants and a hoodie. But yeah, I certainly a choice, and I'm sure we'll hear about that decision later. So this is again sort of an aggregation of the data that I've shown you previously. As I said, all of these are spitting out a composite score based on the weights that was given within the model, closest to 100 obviously being optimized. So if you look at the average score across players, I've also listed the times they appear. So I guess what I should point out is Sung J.M., while he did appear 8 times, on average when he appeared, he was near the bottom of the top 15. He was around 70. So I don't know how you want to weight this. Like, is 3 appearances at an average score of 80 better than 8 appearances at the average score of 70? I don't know. If it meaning what I know about this model, I think the more tests you do, the better. And so if Sung J M is popping up more frequently at 70, I think that's better than Taylor Pendrith, who probably just happens to catch, an emphasis on putting weights, strokes gained putting, that kind of thing a couple of times, and that's what bumps him up. So again, this information is just to help you guys either back test the bets you're already interested in or maybe lead you in a direction. And there's one guy who I must mention that's not on the
Really?
model. And we talked about him before the show. And I I think it is driving distance that holds him back in terms of what the model is doing. I did put a lot of stock into that statistic, and he is like 157th on tour in driving. Like, he just is not a guy who hits the ball far. He certainly makes up for it in other ways, but I don't think ignoring Russell Henley here just because he's not on the model is the right play. I think there is a way you can get him on an outright. I think a top 10 at plus 360 is a really good price for a guy who has performed well here. I'm going to look him up just so I can quote it exactly right. So I can give you his history here because, as you mentioned multiple times, and I've said, history here
Well,
is one of
and
the
on
most
that note,
important
while you're looking,
things.
because I was looking at Sung J M, who I know I mentioned has been had some uneven performances here to both ends of the spectrum. As I thought, so his debut year, he's played here 5 times. First year, he finished uh, tied for second, which is yeah,
Debutantes.
unheard of, really. I mean,
Little,
very
yeah,
rare to come in as a
yeah.
first timer and play that well. The next year, he went 77-80 to miss the cut.
Hey,
uh,
I could putt an 80 with 18 tries.
77-80 to
Okay,
miss
do
the
you hold
cut.
on putting an 80?
The following year, he finished tied for 8th and then 16th. And last year, which I remember, this is it starts to come back to you when you. But I had him in pools. I had him in some DFS lineups. He missed the cut again last year, going 77-74. So he's had 2 missed cuts and 3 very strong
Two, three top
performances.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my guess is a lot of it is course history where he pops up in those weights, probably driving distance, par 5 scoring. So it looks like it's feast or famine with Sung J M. What I can check his recent form. I guess we can mention Henley real quick. 3 appearances. No. Far more than 3 appearances at the Masters. Sorry. He's had a lot of appearances at the Masters, but we'll say his last 3 were 30th, 4th, and 38th. Missed a cut in his debut in 2013. Has not missed a cut since. Best finish 4th 2 years ago. He's got an 11th and a 15th. So a guy who comes out, does what he needs to do, hasn't really contended necessarily, which, he's also never played to the level that I think he's playing at now. So I think this is his best setup in terms of his stuff. But I still like that top 10 at 360. Let me look at Sung J M and see just kind of recently what he's up to with his form. Because I'm probably going to get to him, especially in some DFS. His price is very good. Form, his approaches he's lost approaches, strokes gained. Oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't have looked. Lost off the tee, he's been great. Around the green, he's been pretty solid. He's lost strokes in approach in 7 of his last
Hmm.
8. Not too good. But he's made 3 straight cuts. Strokes gained, tee to green, lost a few. Yeah, so hey, maybe this is his get right spot. Maybe he loves the look of this course. He loves how it sets up. I, I'm not scared off. I'm not scared off yet. A little bit. I'm scared off a little bit, but Sung JM may be a good flyer.
Well, shout out to my buddy Rob White. He's in my messages right now. We've both taken the candy on Sung JM before and gotten burned badly. So as he likes to always say, in out on M. That's his yeah,
I'm
yeah.
out on
Out.
him. Yep.
So yeah, shout out there. But yeah, no, for the Russell Henley stuff, I do feel like this is a guy that overall, I mean, I feel like he's been performing as a top 10 guy on the tour, but he hasn't quite like the price hasn't quite caught up. I don't know if that's because of a lack, he's not maybe not as much of a household name yet, not as prominent of a figure, as like a fan
Right. Yeah.
favorite from a fan favorite perspective, and not hasn't really had like a big signature win. So I don't know. I feel like this is a guy that's very, reasonably priced and a good guy to grab, if not for DFS purposes, a guy to look at for top 20s or head to heads against, somebody that you want to fade.
Yeah. Actually, this is wild, and I didn't even realize this. And now I hit load more, so this is loading. His last miscut was over a year ago, March at the Players of 2024. Has not missed a cut in over a year, and his worst finish was last June at 48th. Since then, he's finished top 30. Oh, I guess at the Genesis he was 39. Yeah, he's playing out of his mind. He's gaining strokes in almost every single category this year, every single round, every single. Yeah, I mean, Russell Henley, he might contend. I really like that 360 now at top 10. Yeah, he's playing the best golf he's ever played. and he has history here. I'm going to be annoying, and I'm going to go all the way back to step one. But you see, 2023, he was T4. So
Yeah, we've seen enough
he
success
knows the
here to
course.
like not be deterred.
Yeah, yeah. What's his
The
outright?
best
Any
one
idea? I want to
he's
say
on
it
my
was
short list of guys I wrote
65.
down here. The best price I saw on an outright for him was 55 to 1.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think I threw a free bet
Yeah.
on him yesterday. I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth a few bucks at 55 to 1. You know, depending on how you want to play it. If he's up there on Sunday and, there's one guy that's competing with him, you put a few bucks on him and there's hedging opportunities. It gets a little dangerous when there's a lot of guys competing and a lot can happen, but I think at 55 to 1 it's a good number. So, he's not included on this betting menu that I've outlined for you. Now, these check marks do not mean run to the window and get down. These check marks just
Tail the
simply
whole
mean
card.
I've got my eye on them. Yeah, I may as well, let me just
Yeah.
check them all real quick. So this is what I've finally done here is I've listed all of the players in order for their total score across all the models. So what I've done is I've added up all like Hideki. Every time Hideki shows up, 84 here, 75 here, total score across all. So it's combining both the weights of their score and their appearances. And so this is what we have in terms of what the model thinks is the best possible situation. And in some ways, I'm glad to see these two at the top. That shows that maybe the model and Vegas are aligned. That's usually pretty good. I prefer Scotty over Rory. I'll probably regret that, and we'll talk next Wednesday about how it was a poor decision. There's something personal about golf. I don't know what it is. Like football, basketball, baseball, I don't get hung up on players, but golf, I just I just can't bet
Yeah.
certain dudes,
Yeah.
and Rory is one of those dudes. And a lot of times his price I think is too
I
steep anyway. But
Which I was gonna say real quick on that note,
yeah,
we
go
did
ahead.
have a comment, Hip Hop Keychains, who's throwing Rory first round leader at plus 1,800. I would throw a little caution to the wind on that, where that has tended to be, and now look, it's not necessarily predictive of what will happen, but generally speaking, I feel like he has a really, really bad first day, and then he's playing catch up the rest of the weekend. I mean, it's like almost. I feel like that's been a recurring theme with him is that he just shits the bed on day one on Thursday, right? And then people kind of write him off. They get all the Rory jokes in. Here we go again with the Rory getting owned by Augusta. And then he kind of slowly creeps his way back. And then on Sunday, they throw up the leaderboard. It's like, oh shit, how'd Rory, he's like in the top 15 now. Like, how did this happen? Um, and again, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that's a guarantee of what will happen. But
I like
yeah,
18 to 1. I
sure.
mean, I I wouldn't take him under 10 to 1, 15, but for as well as he's set up for this course, yeah, I mean, the first round leader stuff and first round maybe something to buy into, but at 18 to 1, I still think that's not a bad price at that for as well as he should play here. I actually like that better than his outright at 6.5 to 1. So, I think if you're gonna play Rory, I think there's more value in the first round leader than there is in the overall. But like you said, he's going to go out and shoot even tomorrow, and then he's going to come back the next 3 days and go 7 under and
Yeah,
climb the
and look,
board. I'm going to be
maybe he
wrong,
has
but
more of a focus on coming out hot out of the gates. Maybe he, and I don't know if that would have any impact on the outcomes or not, but maybe he does have more of a focus to start strong because, like I said, it has been a little bit more of his mo to kind of come out very poorly and then work his way back in.
agreed. Yeah. As far as outrights go, like I said at the beginning, I think this is a very few horse
Yeah,
race. I just think it is going to be dominated by those at the top and Scotty. I've listed 4.5 to 1, but on Profit X, I actually got him at 5 to 1, which I did play at that number. I think 5 to 1 is a good price for him and his success here. I know there's a lot of back to back guys don't, but I think Scotty is a different guy. And so I'm not worried about the, back to back, whatever. But Robert McIntyre, I know you mentioned him at the beginning. He was on your short list. A lefty, playing well, fits the course nicely, ranks third on the model, 55-1. I don't have the outright checked. I'm not saying I won't get to that. Again, this is just my kind of preliminary. Tuesday night is when I made this. We'll lock all the bets in tonight. But I certainly like him at top 20 at plus 115, may even look at top 10. So are you taking Robert outright, or are you just trying to squeeze him into DFS?
I mean, there might be a sprinkle. The best price I could find on him was 45-1. So that at that, I'd probably like, throwing a couple shekels at it, but um I think, he checks all the other boxes. I would again, he's would maybe be a guy that I'd look to for some head to heads against guys that I don't like quite as much.
That's a good thought. Do you know, I always forget the
Mhm.
head to heads. Have you looked and seen who he's up against
See,
in terms of,
the only
I can
problem
check
is
on a
with
couple here.
scanning the head-to-head market is you kinda just have to, because every book kind of, finds those differently, and,
Yeah.
oh, somebody's telling me that I can get way better than 45-1. Well, yeah, that was just my quick look before we came on here, so,
McIntyre and Spieth is a matchup on FanDuel. Spieth is
yeah, and
favored,
Spieth usually plays well here.
and oh, wow, this is interesting. This is interesting. This might be an official Green Means Go play. I'm gonna have to look into it more, but McIntyre versus Joaquin Niemann, live guy, McIntyre plus 120. So FanDuel likes Neiman. Let's see what Neiman's form is
I like
recently
Neiman
over on
too.
Live.
I do like Neiman. He's been tearing it
Oh,
up. I think he just finished, like,
he has.
2nd, or I don't know. He's been hot.
He's only 26.
Yeah.
I feel like he was just
I
26
know,
4 years
I
ago.
know.
Good grief. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
he's been
Oh,
carving it up.
okay. Maybe I
He's been
maybe I
real
won't.
hot. That's a guy that I'm
um,
looking at too, is Neiman is a guy that I think I like this weekend.
he has 2 wins in 4
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. I think it
um,
was Phil that
he
said recently that he's the best golfer in the world currently, which is a little bit,
huh.
higher than I would go with him right now, but, I
Yeah.
think he's
I wonder why the model didn't even
he had
consider
some he
him.
had some
Is
struggles
it
here. I think there was maybe a year that there was some weather, and he, let me pull that up real quick. I know that there was a year that, uh, he had a bad showing, but for the most part, he's a guy that his game, I think, is suitable. He's very good with his irons. Um,
22, 16, 35, 40. So he's made the cut every year. Well, except his first year in 2018. One top 20. He's gained strokes tee to green almost every time he's played here. Putter gave him some trouble last year. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll lay off the McIntyre at 120. Okay, all right. All right, I'll be smart. I don't know. I have a vendetta against
yeah.
live guys, I guess. I don't love the that whole thing, but I'm glad they all get to come together and play in this
A guy that I would
great
be
event.
looking to
Okay, so
fade, to be
McIntyre.
honest, I fade him every year at Augusta, is Bryson DeChambeau. I know that he played well there. What was it, last year? I mean, look, I used to clean up on betting him to miss the cut here, especially when, what is it? He called this a par 65 for him. Um,
Oh, that year
oh
he got
yeah,
really
yeah,
into hitting those long
and
shots. Yeah. Yeah.
look, he's played well here, but I think the time that he did was it was wet, which I think helped him
Oh,
out.
wow. He's re
Yeah.
oof, he's really
Oh,
had
yeah,
some
yeah, he's had some
brutal
bad showings here, and
6th last year, but before that, I mean, cut, 46th,
yeah, and I used to
34th.
just
Yeah.
hammer head-to-heads, like, any head-to-head I could get against him, um, it was, free money at that point, but, yeah, the year that well, I think it was last year he played well, right? It was wet, and I felt that the
Yeah.
wet, course may have helped him a little bit on some of his approach shots where he wouldn't be, because that's tend to have been his problem, is a lot of those approach shots, here, they just they roll
That
off. He's
yeah, he's yeah,
constantly hitting,
yep.
rolling them off the green, going long. Um,
And then his around the green play has been horrible here as well, so it just
right,
compounding
right.
mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know his lock arm putting
Yeah.
style. You know?
I'm glad he's mostly retired the hat, I
Oh,
don't
you
wanna
don't
be
like
too
the newsboy
critical of
hat?
someone's. I remember, I mean, my intro to Bryson was his amateur at the
Yeah.
Masters. Like, that was the first time when he made his run, was, like, the first time I ever saw the guy. Um, and I'm not a big fan of the Kango, what I mean, what
I
is the
call it the
proper term for
newsboy
those
hat.
hats?
Yeah.
Okay. I know, I might need to, yeah, uh, but, yeah, I just I'm not a f I'm not gonna I shouldn't say that. It's not kind to say about, but I don't like the hat. It's just not. I don't love I don't like the hat. I don't, so I'm glad he's retired. It's like the Sandlot clip where Benny says, "You got a fireplace, throw that hat in there." That's kinda what I wanted to say to Bryson is, throw those hats away, burn 'em. Um, so, yeah, but he's really quite a transition, beefed up, and then, what did he 3D printed his irons or
Yeah, they're all the same
something?
length as well,
Uh,
same shaft length for every club.
I got a friend who ordered a oversized grip for his driver because of Bryson. He's like, "Bryson said that you gotta." He's like, You wanna help me put on this oversized grip? Bryson said you should always be using oversized grips. I mean, I'm like, "Hey, if you wanna try it out, man, I'll help you, but I don't
Crusher
know."
hats. There we go.
Crusher hats.
Well,
Crusher
and the other thing
hats.
I'll say with
Okay.
him because, he's always the guy that carries around his course guide in his pocket, right? And you can't do that here, like with the green reads and everything,
Yeah.
his green books. So I think that's another thing that
You can't do that here.
yeah,
I
there
was
was
not
something
aware.
where he can't keep his little, like, booklet that he normally walks around with. Yeah, yeah,
His
yeah,
cheat sheet.
his cheat
Yeah.
sheet. Which I think
Yeah.
is probably more of like a mental thing to him because when he didn't have that, it's like,
Mhm.
he was a guy that's so
Yeah.
routine oriented. But yeah, it turns out there's more to golf than just hitting it as far as you can. I feel like he went through that phase where he was just trying to win the long drive competition. And, you need a little bit
Mhm.
more than that here. So, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm not
Yep.
going to be,
But
I'm
he's
not
on
going
the
to be
list.
fooled by that, number four finish last year. I'm still looking to fade.
Yeah, I'm shocked he's 20 to 1. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
that's that's crazy to me. Um, you guys are jealous that Augusta National's a par 67 for his cranked LD 6-degree driver, par 67. Yeah, you know, you're right. If I could hit it 345 yards or 360 or whatever he hits, I wouldn't be sitting
Yeah,
here
right,
making
right.
this
Yeah, it's
video.
easy for us to
So,
say. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's been
I
a
don't know.
little
I
erratic
think
here. He sprays it around because he's just, but I think ultimately the reason why I just don't love his game here is the approach. Because as we said, it's so important. It's not just important to be accurate in your approach, but knowing where you want to land. And I just think he's time and time again, he's struggled with that because he hits um, these crazy what he hits is pitching wedge like 200 yards or something, right? Like it's it's uh
why even
he's not a
yeah,
finesse
I
player.
can't
And
I
that's
can't
and
fathom
early in
the
his career he was a lot
yeah.
more of a finesse player, which and it was weird that he kind of struggled, but and I know like you said, he's changed it up. He's not all beefed up the way that he has been, but I still think that there's a finesse that is needed to succeed in your approach shots here. And he hasn't really demonstrated that to this point, other than last year, which I said I think was
Agreed.
the wet course, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, um, I I also think, and I may be reading too much into it, there is a certain air at Augusta National. There's a certain level of intensity and, like, there's just a lot of emotion. It's not just a golf tournament. And I think there's guys who handle that better and guys who don't. And I think Bryson falls more into the doesn't handle it as well category for me. He's kind of a hothead. He gets frustrated. He lets his emotions show in ways that I think don't turn around and help his game, I guess is the best way I can say it. Which again, nothing wrong with enjoying what you do and having emotions while you do it, but I think sometimes he kind of digs himself into a hole
Well,
with
yeah. I
getting
mean,
getting
again,
worked
why?
up. So he's calmed down since his YouTube. I mean, I think his YouTube channel and his just like expression of himself has actually helped him become a little more likable because there was a period of time where I just couldn't stand his
Right.
antics. But
Well, and as we said, I mean, this game is
I
hard
think he's
enough.
calmed
This
down.
course is hard enough. Why are you trying to make it even more difficult and put more pressure on yourself by saying stupid things like, this is a par 67? What do you like? What are we doing here, man? And granted, look, I know he said that a few years ago. It's not like he's saying that right now, but it's hard to kind of put some distance between himself and that statement, especially with the struggles that he's had.
Put Agreed. Throw Henchman's comment up because we have a direct
Which
disagreement
one?
with this.
Oh yeah,
Anywho,
yeah,
best bet of the
yeah.
week, Angel Cabrera, low
Oh
senior.
yeah.
Zach actually pointed me to a good wager at the time for Phil Mickelson, low senior, -120 on DraftKings. It's now minus
Yeah.
175 ish. Good
-2.
CLV. We might have to get that trash can photo out, but um, good luck to you with Cabrera. Just won last week, didn't he? On the senior tour, I believe he just got first. But Phil's also been playing pretty well. So good luck to you, man of the henchman. But I am actively rooting against you because of my wager on Phil Mickelson, low senior. Are you fact checking my Cabrera call out,
Yeah, I was
or are you
looking
looking
him
at something
up
else?
real quickly, but I was also seeing if
Yeah, he's coming
these
off a win.
senior numbers had moved anywhere.
Lines
Yeah,
are up.
the the top senior.
Um, yeah, yeah. I have to imagine that Phil's going to sit
Well, and
pretty
Phil's been
comfortably in
playing
the
pretty well
best.
too. It's
In the
not
favorite.
just that like he normally
Yeah,
plays well here, but he also has just been in good form, I think, recently anyway.
yeah, yeah. Okay, a couple other things on this. Xander, I could see an argument at, I would have liked him closer to 25-1. I think he could win this golf tournament. He's been playing well, one of the best golfers over the last 6 months. I like his top 10 at 150. Hideki makes it up here, but I he's broken my heart too much. I don't think he's in form. He doesn't seem focused. He doesn't seem with it right now. He hasn't looked himself in the last few weeks. So I was going to touch it at 50-1 or more, not at 30. Sung J M, I think, is a really good DFS spot, which we will talk about in just a few minutes. But at a top 20, 210, I mean, we looked, he's either going to make the cut or he's going to get top 20, it seems like. So look at this as a to make the cut plus 210. If you like that, that's bad betting. Don't do that. But, I like Sung JM top 20 at that number. Ludwig missed a cut last week. Don't love him at 22-1, even though last year looked pretty good. I've seen a lot of smart minds on JT. What are your thoughts on JT?
I mean, look, he's played here. What he likes playing here. I think he just kind of falls into that category for me where, um, he's just really expensive. He always comes across as really expensive to me, and it feels like you're paying the tax. Now, granted, again, look, he's performed here. There's not a lot of reason to doubt him. It's not like I'd be shocked if he won by any stretch. I think he's a threat, but I just think there's more value a little bit further down than what you're getting with him.
Agreed. Yeah. Colin, the more I look at it, the more I don't love it. 18-1, but his approach game is probably one of, if not the best in the league. So I think he's got a shot to win it if he can get his putter figured out. John Rahm is more of a, I'm going to be mad at myself if I don't play. He's playing exceptionally well on live right now. He's had a good course history here. And outside of that, you can kind of peruse this and look through. But I think my favorite long shots or dark horses or going to outperform their expectation is Will Zalatoris and Russell Henley. Those are my two good feelings. But there's a couple guys on here that I think could do pretty well and
And
make the
hell,
top
I mean,
20.
Willie Z
So
almost won this thing in his debut year. One of the,
yeah,
he was almost the first since Fuzzy Zeller to win in his debut Masters here. But he's had some back issues, I believe, right? Some back troubles. He took some time
yeah,
away. I think that's obviously the
yeah,
cause for this discounted price now. But
yeah, um, for sure. But yeah, I like the numbers that you can get. But yeah, I think as as soft as it is, as chalky as it is, I think it's Scotty's to lose. I think if Rory gets off to a poor start in round one, and Rahm gets off to a poor start in round one, and Scotty goes 4 or 5 under on day one, like you're going to see his live odds be something that there's going to be too steep to even overcome after one day. So at 5 to 1 is where I got him at 4.5 even. I think that's pretty good. This is more your wheelhouse, the DFS, but I did throw together in the model some generations based on different metrics, different calculation, different weights. So all of these, again, they're kind of using some of these same trials from back here as it relates to once the trials are generated and the list is generated, then it uses salaries to optimize the best lineups. And so this is what I have. And if you'll notice, there is one guy who appears on every single one, and he's $7,300, and he's Sung JM. And if he can make the cut, I think there's some low projected ownership too. Until the thousands of people who are watching this go out and put them in the lineup, then we might change the market. We
yeah,
might move the
right,
DFS market. I
right,
don't know. I
right.
don't know. But Rory and Scotty, I mean, are you paying that much?
No.
Not even. You didn't even think about it.
No, and not for Ludwig Oberg either. I'm not paying that much for him as well. I mean, my top
Yeah,
dollar
I
guy.
hate this lineup. For what it's worth, I hate this. It's the highest projected scoring lineup nearly. I hate this. I
Yeah.
mean this is no.
I like going Xander, Neiman, and Lowry as like the three. I guess if you want to call them expensive guys, Lowry's a little bit down there. Right now I have him at 8,800. Um, but I just think his ability to perform is just as he's been in pretty good form himself as well. He's played here very well in
What
the
if you
past.
go Lowry, Neiman, uh what'd you
Xander,
say? Xander,
yeah, all
Sung
those guys
Jae.
are under 10K.
How much do you have left if you go Sung Jae? You got it pulled up? I can
Yeah, I
put you
do
on the
have it pulled.
spot.
Yeah, I'm just kind of messing with the lineup right now.
Are you strictly DraftKings?
That's what I have pulled up right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I know FanDuel has I haven't done FanDuel DFS in a long time,
All
but
right.
my friend sent me a top 50 cash and a GPP plus. There's like a bonus for if you have the guy who wins in your lineup, you get a bonus. I don't know. It might be worth checking out as a $5 entry. But okay, so you
So
got those
how about
three
this?
Sungjae.
If you go Xander, Neiman, Lowry, Sung J M, and another guy that we like, Russell Henley,
I love it.
that leaves you 6,500 for your
Okay.
final guy. So you're going a little bit down the board. And
Can we get
Jesus,
Phil? Phil's probably more than 65.
yeah, because I had him in here actually in my tinkering. He's 6,700. So
Oh, that's brutal. Okay, let me
yeah.
look through.
Not Max Homa. It will not be Max Homa, as we've spoken about. What about Johnny Vegas? What's he been? Because I know that
What
he's
about Bernard Langer? Thoughts? Is he too old?
he is, I think, a little too old. It's funny. Man of the Henchman threw something in about Langer as well. He's 67. I could go
Yeah,
out on a limb to say he
that's
will not be
crazy.
shooting a 67, otherwise known as the DeChambeau par. But I don't know. I just think
Matthew McCarty
if you
shows
want,
up
you can
pretty
take
well.
Langer like to make the cut. If you want to like root for an old timer, you can maybe make the cut.
No.
Because that's another thing that I think people, you always have to remember every year is how many people do make the cut. in this tournament in particular.
Top 50 in ties, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there will
So,
be
and there's 95. There's
right.
95
So over
total.
half the field. It's the one time that I would advocate, maybe not advocate, but at least sign off on throwing together some make the cut parlays. I know that like FanDuel lets you do that. Um,
DraftKings has a bet match if you do that. So if you make a to make the cut parlay, as long as the odds combine for plus 100, if you bet it with the stake that you're maxed for, you'll get a free bet equal to that. So there's a if you're gonna do it, I think it's good
all
to
right.
do it.
I was wrong on
That
Johnny
way.
Vegas. First of all, he hasn't played here since 2018, where he finished 38th, tied for 38th.
2018.
Yeah, that's the last time he played here.
Holy smokes! Yeah, Langer's missed the cut 3 events. Just brutal statistics too. You don't want to know. We can't put him in.
Yeah, but we need to find this last guy. There's a Tom Hoagie, there's Denny McCarthy, Harris English,
What
David
about Matthew McCarthy?
Davis
McCarty.
Riley.
Matthew McCarty. Oh, this will be his debut at the Masters.
Y-
6,300.
Yeah,
Probably not the
you can
guy.
get him though. He's available.
JJ Spawn would be great, but he's
Former
68.
former champion. Three former champions are down in this list. Willett, Zach Johnson, and Bubba Watson.
Hey, I like Bubba.
I
I'm a
know,
Bubba
right?
supporter. Lefty.
Uh, he's
Fred Couples, if you really want to get funky. What'd you say we had 50, 65?
65. Yeah,
Because Buzadenho
it's a
is
tough cut.
66. What about Joe Highsmith? He's 63. Joe Highsmith has had some success. Won the Cognizant this year.
Bub,
It's his Masters debut.
Bubba's
Eh,
missed 2 straight cuts here too. Man,
there's a lot of.
last year he went 74-80.
All right, I'm gonna give you the guy. Oh gosh, maybe not. Steven Yeager. Steven Yeager
Yeah,
at
what's he doing?
6,300. Been good tee to green this year. One Masters tournament, one cut.
Okay.
Good approach this year. Decent putting this
Oh yeah,
year.
he missed the cut. Yeah.
3 straight top 30s. He's got a 6th under his belt this year. I mean, you don't need him to do anything except make the cut. With that lineup, you
I
don't
know. And
need Steven
that's
Yeager
the
to
thing.
win.
That's what we're looking for here. You just need somebody to make the cut. You got to get everybody across the cut line. Because as we said, with how many people do make the cut, you're not winning any money in DFS if you don't have everybody make the cut. Unless maybe you have like the winner and
Top
another
5.
top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have to really, really, everybody else has to really carry it. But
Yeah. Yeah. But I think there's some decent. Check the promos for the
But I
DFS.
will say, yeah, I'm still workshopping that final spot. I don't know if Sung Jae is going to be in there for me. That's probably where I'm going to save some money is by trimming down Sung Jae. But
That's fair.
I will say it's like Xander, Neiman, and Lowry. I'm pretty strong, confident on those guys being Henley, I should say.
Xander, Neiman, Lowry, and Henley seems like a solid top. All of them could pop top 20.
Yeah,
And then
I have
you're in a good
13-8 left, so I feel like I'm in pretty good shape.
yeah. Who did you have in that lineup that outside of those 4? Who was it Sungjae that we put in?
Before I had like Phil and Sergio, but I don't know if I can still fit them in or not. Those are just 2 guys that I know. Sergio has
I'll
missed the
show you
cut
the one
here.
that I made.
Yeah, Phil.
And
I just feel like Phil is going to make the cut. Like he just knows his way around.
and
He's
he's
not
playing
going to.
well.
Yeah, and like maybe he could work his way into the leaderboard, but he's not
What's
going to
Russell
kill
Henley?
you. I don't think.
How much is Henley? Because I may hate this now. I don't hate this.
84.
Okay, yeah, then this is fine. This is anecdotally, The lineup that I don't do a ton of research for, and I just kind of, I've done my preliminary research and I just kind of free fire, usually does the best. That is this one. So this is raw art right here. This is enough information that I feel informed, but not too much information that I'm overanalyzing. McIntyre's on here, Scheffler's on here, Zalatoris is on here. A flyer with McCarthy, very up and down, hit and miss, but he putts well. We can get something here. Oh gosh, man of the henchman's on Patrick Reed. You love Patrick Reed.
I
And
always
then
say
Phil and
he's
Corey
yeah,
Connor.
I was saying that before. I wouldn't say I love Patrick Reed. I wouldn't, but
You enjoy his presence at Augusta.
for these
Yeah,
purposes and for him at this course, yes. Like, he's usually a good person to back because he just plays really well here.
yeah. So this is my first official DFS entered into the Millie $10 entry to win $1 million. I wouldn't copy it because then, if we win, we only get half. Then we're splitting $500,000, and then a couple. Just we don't want to share $1 million. I'll help you guys out if I win, but don't copy this, but build around this. We'll just say, Man of the Henchman, he's very active in the chat. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, is
He's around
the
the
man?
spaces and stuff. Yeah. He
Who was the first man of the on X?
I
Like,
don't know.
how far does
I
this
don't,
lore go?
I don't know.
Was man of the library
There's a lot of them. A lot of
the
men.
first? Like, man of the Vig came after? Okay, we don't need to get into it,
I
but
have
I'm
no
curious.
idea.
I'm curious about the
I
origination of
So
the
I'll
man
say
of the.
this. If I have I did throw Phil, and then that lets me get McNeely, Berger, Garcia, Cam Young, who I just had to get off the Cam Young train finally. Cut my losses
Well,
there.
look here. I mean, he squeaked in on
Man.
this.
Man, I think
He played
it's
well last
just
week.
yeah.
It might be time.
What was it, that eagle he had at the PGA, I feel like has really just like I've been fooled ever since.
Let me
Lost a
see.
lot on Cam Young, DFS and top 20s a lot, but
Ooh. Oh,
it
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
don't I was gonna say don't look.
last
It's
week
not pretty.
was the outlier
Yeah.
to what has been an abysmal. Holy, I mean, five out of six cuts is what he's dealing with. Masters wise, back to back top tens though,
Yeah, I know. And then I got
and
smoked
that's with
the next year.
horrible around the green play.
Yeah.
Huh. Who coming off his best performance of the year, good course history at the Masters. Maybe Cam Young is a spot at 7,000. That's not too bad. Don't force it. Don't force it.
I know. I know.
JJ
Um,
Spawn, a lot of times popped up. He's 68. That might not be a bad look. Yeah. Adam Scott performed pretty well in terms of points. He might be fairly affordable. Minwoo Lee, he's probably going to be kind of expensive. Pendrith.
Another guy I think that normally plays really well here is Tommy Fleetwood, but again, that's a guy that you're just paying a lot
Yeah,
for.
he didn't look good last week at all. And he was the
No.
favorite to win, and then he got cut, didn't he? I'll look, but
Oh man, he's saying to fade Shane Lowry. Doesn't like my Shane Lowry look.
third, 33rd, 14th, 46th, 19th, 3rd, a lot of experience. But his approach play has been pretty poor at Augusta National. Yeah, Fleetwood is just another one of those guys, kind of like Cantlay, where I just don't ever get there. They don't move the needle for me. Too overpriced, and I heard your dog's barking. They don't have that dog in them. Okay, so that was not a decode by any means.
I'd curious to know why he wants to fade Lowry. I mean, look, he had a tough one last year, 43rd. But 1, 2, 3, 5 straight made cuts. 4 of those were, I mean, all of those are top 25 or better, 25, 21, third, and 16. I know, like, yeah, last year he had a tough time, but he did make the cut.
And
So,
this year, 8th, 20th, 7th, 11th. 39. Second.
Yeah, like, he's not been playing poorly.
Only missed one cut this year. Is the first event of the year. Outside of that, top 20 every time. 4 top 20s. Yeah, I can see an argument for Lowry. What do I have him at? 45-1, but a good 8,800 on the price tag. I think it'll be a popular pick. Did someone say decode? Unfortunately, we did.
We do all the decoding off
Yeah.
stream. We do the decoding,
Yeah,
yeah.
but sometimes it leaks over onto the
Yeah.
on airtime. Nothing wrong with a little decode from time to time.
Different weights of
Yeah.
decoding.
Yeah, wow. Full circle here. We've come a long way. Well, I think that's all I have as a summary. I think it's Scotty's to lose. I know that's boring. Thumbs down, boo. I think McIntyre is in a really good spot. I think you're going to see Xander and Colin competing. I like Zalatoris and Hindley.
How do you feel? I'm going to ask about another guy that we haven't mentioned, but I know he had gotten a little bit of. He's been playing well. He's had some chatter. We've talked about lefties. Ashke Batia.
I don't have a ton of strong opinions either way. We'll just start there. I like the guy. I think he's got some potential. But with feast or famine.
I mean, I'm seeing like 80-1 on him. Pretty good top 20 prices too.
His debut, 35th.
Yeah,
Played
made the cut.
well.
Like to see somebody just make the cut in their debut.
He lost
to be honest.
5 strokes on approach and finished 35th. It looks like round 4 was brutal for him. I wonder what he was going into Sunday. Do we have that data? Where's our producer? We got somebody in the back who can run that?
Yeah, I can see.
Akshay's 54 hole score. Because I bet he was
on last year. Yeah, so he went 72, 75, 74, 73.
70. Oh, wow. Yeah. So after Saturday, he was probably top 5. Looking good. And then Saturday, Sunday fell apart.
Well, and I know it's not a metric. It's not an official statistic, but I would say, one thing that does tend to do well here is guys that just kind of have, look, it's going to sound really stupid, but like you got to have a little bit of mojo to you. You got to have a little artistry, like kind of have a little panache to your game. Yeah, like you just got to be able
Does
to
he have it?
I think so. That's
Here,
what I was going to say. Is like I think he kind of has that a little bit.
Let me give you not an answer, but a question, and then you can come to the answer. If you think Akshay makes the cut,
oh yeah,
then I think he's a good play. I think he is a black and white. He's gonna come out and he's gonna go. He's either gonna go top 10 or he's gonna miss the cut. How about that? I'll go on record and say that.
Well, you can bet both of
I'll
those.
hedge myself. Miss the cut, top 10. A little fake ARB opportunity. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like
give yourself a reverse middle, a very wide reverse.
I mean,
middle.
look this year, ninth cut, third cut. So it's like when he loses strokes, tee to green, he gets cut. When he gains strokes, tee to green, he gets top 10. Small sample size, but will he do that here?
Yeah, he finished third at the Players too.
Cut last week. I don't know how much you buy into that. I mean, man of the henchman is just he's cracking me up in these comments. Builder bet of the week. Anyone who is not married to a woman need an alpha male to win this week. # keep building. Only the Akshay is going to win is the drive, chip, and putt. That's about it. Was this the event that Tony Finau rolled his ankle after celebrating a hole-in-one? Or was that? Am I mixing up things? I feel like there was like a par 3 contest.
Are we talking about top 10,
Yeah,
Tony,
yeah.
um, or Tony? I don't know. Was that
I think it
here?
was, like, on a day like today, like the Wednesday, like,
Yeah, because the par 3 is
yeah,
today,
I may
right?
be misremembering. Okay, Man of the Hingeman wants the top 3 finishers. He wants the exacta, the trifecta, if you will. I'm gonna go Scotty, Rom, and Xander. Chalk. Scotty, Rom, and Xander, I think, are the top
Who
3.
Which one of those is gonna ruin you? Which one of those 3 do you think is the one that won't if you get 2 out of 3, who's
I
gonna
hope it's
miss out?
Rom. I'm preying on Rom's downfall. I don't like Rom. I don't want Rom. I'm not interested in Rom, but he's been playing well. I'm ignoring Joaquin Neiman too. I mean, he's not
I
even.
know. That's the guy that I like. I like
Yeah,
Neiman here.
if I'll give you my dream top 3 Man of the Henchman: Scotty Scheffler, Robert McIntyre, Will Zalatoris, Russell Henley, tied in the 3rd place spot. Like if those guys are sitting up there,
Why do you have Scotty in there? It would be like you rooting for a guy, rooting for the underdog here.
I,
Like, yeah, it'd be nice to see Scotty get some wins,
I
a
I am
redemption
typically
story.
a underdog guy, a contrarian. I like to go against those who have dominance, but I like Scotty. I like his game. I like his I like how calm and cool he is out there. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. So yeah, that's like the one guy that like the one. Like I didn't root for the Patriots in the dynasty. I hate Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like I don't do all the sensationalized, media blow up of all these individuals. But Scotty, I'm there for it. So, um, yeah, I know. It's not
Man of the Henchman must be a big live guy. He wants an all live top 3. Like, this guy's a
Bryson,
terrorist. Like, come on, man.
Neiman, Epka.
Yeah, he must have missed a lot of. I don't know. He might have tuned in after we did all of our Bryson
No, he
bashing.
was here because he was the one who
Um,
said,
we went in pretty heavy
no,
on
no,
the
no, because
Bryson
he was
bash.
his first comment was about the hat. If you'll
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. That's
his
right.
his
That's
ears
right.
perked up when he heard us talking about Bryson. He lived top 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, how can we decode, this?
My
I mean, there's
goodness.
probably
Out. I'm out on that. But like I said, I'm not afraid to grab some live guys. I like Neiman. I like Patrick Reed, and I like I like
Rom? Oh, no,
Phil.
okay.
Well, Phil as top senior.
Yeah,
Rom's never missed a cut here.
that's a good stat. That's a good.
Yeah, and he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. He's played here 8 times, no missed cuts. Last year was actually the worst finish that he's ever
Which was
had.
what, 40
Um,
something?
tied for 45, and that's coming off of a
Yeah,
win.
yeah.
I mean, his second year he was 4th. He's had, let's see, top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's finished 5 times in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm scared of Rom. I don't
5 out of 8, he's gone
yeah,
top
I
10.
hate that. I actually am. I know on Sunday afternoon, I'm gonna be sitting there looking at a leaderboard, and he's going to be in first or crawling up, and I'm gonna be sweating all these. I guess I should just do it. I got a check mark by Rom. I don't wanna do it. It's emotional hedge. Which one of you knows El Pato? I don't know what that means. You better know what that means. Throwing the house on Rory like I have for the last 10 years. Delusion, gotta win eventually. Jay, I don't know how long you've been here,
It's my guy Jay.
but if you're a stats guy, if you're a setup guy, if you're a trends guy, Rory is a great bet according to the models that I ran. I mean, top 2 in every single one. So I don't think it's a bad bet at all. But again, if bets were won on a computer screen, we could be very wealthy. So yeah, I'm staying off Rory.
Oh yeah, he definitely missed all the early uh Rory slander from you.
I I have a very black and white list of PGA guys, I think, and I don't know why, because It's not really how I treat
I
every other sport.
Yeah, I was gonna say Angel Cabrera is El Pato,
Okay.
by the way. Yeah.
Quack, quack.
Coming back after 2 years in prison.
Really? What was he in
Yeah.
prison for?
He was in Argentine prison for the past 2
Oh,
years.
I get Jeff Nadeau on it. He might be able to clue us in on what happened.
It it had something to do with, like, he was threatening, somebody, somebody he used to work with or something. I don't know. I do remember that, though. Known as El Pato or the Duck for his waddling
He
gait.
murdered 2 podcasters.
Um well, that's what that's directed at us, I think,
Oh,
here. Yeah. But yeah, he was, accused of making threats again yeah. I don't know, it's always like with the foreign criminal stories, you always, uh I feel like the details are always a little
yeah.
I don't know if you remember the baseball player Ugi Urbina when it was like he, like, took a machete to people and, like, lit them on fire on his property, and, like, that's why he got put in prison in, I believe Venezuela, but, um, it's like I said, the details are
Sure,
always a little murky at best on some of the foreign
sure.
affairs when it comes to imprisonment and crime. I
I
can't say that's
I'm gonna fade Cabrera.
my area of
Yep.
expertise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's safe to say he's fading us. Um,
Uh, yeah. Man, the Henchman,
can't
where you
rule it
been, man?
out. We
I
can't
haven't
rule
really
it out.
seen you around in the he must be listening to all these anonymously. He must be.
I'll tell you, he's a much better participant than
Yeah, I
Eagles
mean,
guy
I was a
43.
little
Glad to see he ran. Glad to see he got run out of
he
town.
made some
So
pretty crushing comments at the beginning. I mean, I was in full go mode, and he said it's embarrassing content. I was like, "Oh,
you can't get yeah, we can't get rattled by the
yeah."
hecklers
My
here.
thing is always, well, then
Um,
the why are you wasting your time here? That's what I don't understand.
yeah, I
If
know.
it's so bad, um,
Yeah, thanks for the
yeah, I
engagement,
don't know.
bro. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks thanks for the comments. Anyone else, I guess. We're out on Cantlay.
Out on Hovland.
I
Yep,
don't know. I just think there's probably 15 people that you could put a box around and say these are the 15. You're not getting much outside of that.
yep. I definitely agree.
Is Rory you'd say Rory's inside or outside of that box?
He's inside the box. I don't want him to be. I'd rather him
Yeah.
not be, but he is. Yeah. It's so bad that it's somewhat good. That's a that's hurtful, henchman.
That's what we're going
Yeah,
for.
I mean, it's honest. Right.
Yeah, right. We're doing honest content here. That's
You
what
want
we're all about. We're doing
sensationalized henchman? You want me
honest
to
yeah, honest and authentic, more than can be said of many other productions out there.
and we will build. Lucas Glover? No, 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 no. But we need more women in sports and sports media. So there you go. Okay. Well, we're on the topic.
Yeah, I guess any other I don't know, it's hard to wrap this up. We have so much so much banter going on. It's been fun. It's been a good stream. I think this is kind of this is really when the calendar flips for me when I really start getting the itch to get out on the course. Um, you know, weather permitting, it's like this is kind of when it's like, all right, I got to get myself out on a golf course like immediately after this weekend, if not over the course of this weekend. I don't think we're looking at great weather
Yeah, my
here,
friend
but
asked if I wanted to play Friday, and I was like, "What time?" He's like, "Mid morning." I'm like, I'm going to be watching the Masters, right? Like
yeah,
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to be out while this is going on. That's the thing. But then you want to get out so bad. Normally, what I end up doing is I'll set up my outside, like my back patio TV, and then get out with like an iron and like some practice balls, or just do some chipping
Oh
in the
yeah,
backyard with it on.
yeah.
So
You're speaking my language.
yeah, I even did that when we had the fall masters
Hmm. Yeah,
during COVID times when we had like the fall no
yeah,
fans masters. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to scan through, see if there's anybody that we didn't touch on that is noteworthy. I mean, Victor Hovland's a guy I would steer far away from him. I just think this is just he has no approach game, and as we said, we stress the importance of approach, and that's his key weakness of his game. So I would fade him in head to heads. I guess that's another point that I hadn't quite made yet was looking at some head to head markets. Is I don't necessarily look at who do I want to support. I'd look at who do I want to fade, and then try to find, hey, who are the matchups, and then if I find guys that I think is have more faith. They're automatic bets for me if I want to bet and it's a good price and that guy is a better fit. Like I know I'm not giving any specific examples here, but I'd look. Hovland is a guy I would look to fade. DeChambeau is a guy I'd look to fade.
Hovland missed the cuts plus 166. Let me see if there's any matchups on him.
The only problem is it's
It's
just so
generous cut. Yeah,
I don't want to say easy,
yeah. You can
but
play poorly.
making the cut like you have to really have a disaster to not
Sepp
make the cut.
Straka and Hovland are matched. Hovland, sizable favorite against him, minus 140. So if you like Sepp at plus money, and then Hovland and Akshay Bhatia, Akshay is plus 110. So put your money where your mouth is on Akshay. You can take him over Hovland at plus 110. That's on FanDuel. I didn't check anywhere else, but that's interesting. It might be no.
I don't like I
It's
said
literally
I don't
snowing. We got
mind it.
Masters tomorrow and it's snowing. I mean, what?
We can't
It's
have that.
unbelievable.
Need to shut that down immediately.
Okay, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'll lock in what I'm gonna lock in, and I'll sweat it all weekend.
Oh, I see. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
Lucas
With the
Glover.
Lucas
Yeah,
Glover, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Birds of a feather. I'm with you.
Man, the henchman really up to speed on his
Yeah,
I guess on
tour drama.
the prison yard parlay here with Angel Cabrera and Lucas
Throw in
Glover.
Dustin Johnson.
Maybe look into that one.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think Dustin's had some.
Throw in Scotty Scheffler. Another known
Yeah,
criminal.
recent criminal.
Barely made his
Yeah,
tea time because he was in handcuffs.
yeah. You could do a trouble with the law parlay. Might have to cook that up. Yeah,
We might look at that. We might look at throwing together a DFS card of all
yeah,
convicts.
yeah.
The convict card, yeah.
Did Dustin Johnson ever face any legal trouble? Do you know?
I don't know, but a guy who wasn't necessarily convicted of breaking any laws, I don't think, but he would maybe fit the criteria and round out. It would be Patrick Reed for all of his stealing money and equipment and things from his own
Oh, I did not know
teammates.
that.
Yeah, I think that was a college thing. He stole stuff out of their lockers and stuff. It was
Huh.
you can find something on it. We're digging into the past, but it was one of the many reasons I think people didn't like him.
Yeah, yeah. Dustin Johnson's had a rough go. We'll just say that. There's a lot that I did not realize. So, yeah. Wow. Who knew?
So yeah, Angel Cabrera was arrested in Rio de Janeiro due to him having left Argentina without authorization following the start of a trial where he was facing charges including assault, theft, and illegal intimidation. Did 2
If
years.
intimidation's a crime, I know a couple of spaces that the feds could infiltrate pretty easily, but yeah, henchman's going crazy.
It does suck that we don't have Tiger here. It always is fun, but I guess sometimes when Tiger's here, like he's one of those guys that like, the spotlight is on him the entire time. But it's always fun to follow Tiger. It also is sad sometimes, I think, to follow Tiger and see him start to kind of like wear down. And what was the year when like I was cold
Yeah.
watching him.
Yep.
On that
And of course, all the
Saturday.
books want to throw out boosts and like promos to get the support, and it's like, take a man
Oh
while he's
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Laurie Cantor, Jay, Masters debut, I believe, which doesn't feel great. One PGA event this year. He was cut. Didn't look like he played horribly, but he's on the European tour, it looks like. And, looking at his numbers on the European tour, a third, a first, a 35th, and a second. I don't really know how competitive the European tour is, but
I would say if you were going to back him, I would maybe back him in the top debutante market. Just because, as we've said before, I don't like taking
first timers.
first timers against the
Yeah.
field. But if you're
As a
taking
DFS
him, I mean,
play
let me see
at
if I can find that price real
6,600,
quick.
there might be some other guys around him that are comped similarly that might be better, but he'll probably be low owned if he comes in with that same form and he's figures it out. I don't have a lean either way. I guess if you feel good about him, let her rip. I'm trying to find the debutante.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now.
I'm on FanDuel and I know DraftKings had it pretty accessible. There's a lot of Marcus near its.
Okay, so here he is, 10-1 on
Wow.
DraftKings, behind Davis Thompson, Aaron Rye, Taylor Pendrith, Maverick McNeely, and Thomas Detry.
PJ Singh.
Yeah, he just backed out, I thought, right? Didn't VJ
That's probably the joke. I don't.
just
Maybe.
yesterday or 2 days ago? Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's
Where'd you find that? Golfer
um
props? Top golfer props? Yeah.
it's at the very end, yeah, next to
Oh
live
wow, there's some
specials.
yeah. Oh boy. Wow. These odds are pretty. I mean, they don't know. The books don't have a lean. Because these odds are all pretty even. According to the model, according to the reports, Taylor Pendrith would be what the stats say. Nothing really jumps off the page. Aaron Rye, I know, has had some success. A lot of people backing him, but yeah. Top lefty, McIntyre, Batia, Phil, Harmon. Senior, yeah, 120 now, 175.
Harmon just coming off a win too.
Right.
And I think he played well here last year. Just off the top of my head.
I'll check it out. Brian Harmon this year.
Nope, never mind. Missed cut, 81-72. 3 straight missed cuts, as a
Oh
matter of
my.
fact. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
12th. He was 12th in 21.
And outside of
So,
his win last
oh
week, he
yeah,
hasn't been
because
great.
yeah, yeah, out, complete
Yeah.
out on him.
Hmm.
I don't hate that. Like taking Robert McIntyre and Batia as top lefties. Now, granted, you're kind of like I wouldn't mind betting both of those guys because I look down that list. I don't like anybody else there to have a better score than them.
You're kind of halfway hedged with
Like
your
let's take out Bubba. It won't be Bubba. It won't be Mike Weir. Like those guys are
Okay.
Absolutely not. So Phil, maybe you could be worried about, but
You're
like
hedged with your top senior.
not worried about Harmon. Yeah. Highsmith, Matt McCarty, like, are they gonna come out of nowhere? And I doubt it. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
hate that.
Yeah.
I'd have to hit the calculator and see what price that gives you if you're taking McIntyre and Akshay against the field.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. I mean,
it's plus money. Like it's better
yeah.
than, better than plus 100.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, if Phil is the top lefty, he's likely going to be the top senior, so you're gonna win that bet that you already placed. So as long as it's not Harmon and below, you're probably good.
So it's either, yeah. So
I'd probably just stick to McIntyre, but I know you like Akshay.
yeah, you're basically getting plus 160 or plus 130, depending on which one of those two guys win.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's what he said. He threw it in. Uh, he punted on Cantor for top debutant 10-1. Liked him on the Euro Tour. Yeah, Laurie Enos Cantor.
Talk about a guy with a past.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
deep
he
cut
ever?
there. I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts or anything else? Maybe anything you want to plug? I know that you're doing some more. You're doing some more. This is the warm up. You're doing a much bigger show later.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a show later. I don't need to. We don't need to compare. Yeah, I'm on the Steffi Small show tonight. I think we're talking similar things, golf and maybe some MLB and whatever else. But I got nothing to plug. I'm just here for a good time and hopefully can add value to your life in some way, whether it's betting wise or entertainment wise or whatever. So my only plug is if you want to follow and stick around, I hope to be here for 20 years. 20 feels good. Like if I'm still talking sports in 2045 and I have a following, I'll feel pretty good, Zach.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There, you don't want to burn. You don't want the star to burn too bright. Because then you'll
yeah,
fizzle out like
you want to
some.
build.
It's just consistency, authenticity. We just want to make the cut every year, and occasionally trickle into the top 10. That's what we're looking for.
Exactly. And you can't do it when you're a debutante
Um,
for the most part. You got to get the experience.
no,
So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we have some more shows this week. Tomorrow we're doing EuroLeague space at noon Eastern, and then turning that into a afternoon baseball betting space starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be a fun twofer heading into the weekend with the NBA season wraps up, and then Sunday evening, or everybody's season ends on Sunday. So then Sunday evening we'll kind of be breaking into those playoff matchups. So once that's all set out. So yeah, be sure that you check those out. Big thank you to everybody who watched, participated in the chat. We had a pretty lively chat, so appreciate that. Hopefully everybody cashes some tickets this weekend, win some money, some DFS content. We either helped you out with some information or you thought these guys are so stupid that I'm fading their plays. Maybe that'll work out for you too. So whichever way that you choose to go, we are thankful that you watched. We'll still be going next week, so check us out next Wednesday as well, around the same time. That's all I got. Good luck. Good luck with the Masters this weekend.